Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Now, Guru Sahib in Gurbani does use a number of different analogies. For example, he talks about farming and how what you sow, so shall you reap. He also talks about the making of yogurt. Not many of us make yogurt nowadays, but people that do would understand that one. But I just wanted to use something a little bit modern, a little bit light-hearted, just to explain some of the science behind connecting. And this is purely come back from conversations I've had with people. This is not from Gurbani, so obviously there's going to be some things that will be mistakes, and I apologize in advance for that. The key thing about a phone is its purpose is really that it can allow you to phone somebody. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of phones nowadays, like the iPhones, like the Android phones, like I have. They all have apps, and there's loads and loads of different things you can do with the phone, separate from the fact that you can call somebody. You can play games on it, you can read email, you can go on the internet, Twitter, Facebook, all the things you can like doing with your life. Yeah. If that can't make a call, it can't connect to anybody, it's not really a phone. It's more like the iPod Touch, for example, rather than having the iPhone. Guru Sahib would say that our body has a main purpose as well. And that purpose is to connect to the Creator. We might go on in life to become great sportsmen, great husbands, parents. We might have great careers. But if we're not realizing our purpose, then we haven't really used our body or our life in the best way possible. When we look at the antenna of a phone, we can compare that to something like the Dasam Dwar on the human body. Dasam Dwar is a phrase used for the 10th door, Dasmi Dwar. And what that refers to really is the top of your head here. Right at the top, the crown, you have basically, Guru Sahib is saying, 9 holes in your body that are visible. They are pargat, and one which is hidden, gupt. What are these 9 visible holes or doors to your body? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 just on your head, and then we've got 2 down below. That's 9. And then we've got this 10th one, and that hidden one is really what activates when you start meditating and connecting. So that's your antenna effectively, and some phones have 2 antennas, and in many ways we could look at the different energy centers in our body. Probably the one here, the third eye point, the trikuti as we call it, would be like your secondary area, but really it's all about the 10th one that we're trying to activate. Now Guru Sahib is saying that it's fastest to activate the most important one through love. Now this Dasam Dwar concept is not unique to Sikhi. If you look at things like, for example, Buddhism, they have this as the flowering spot of the 10,000 petal lotus. They also have in Hinduism, for example, the crown chakra, which is at the top of the head. The important thing is that you have this antenna, and it's a physiological thing in your body which you can actually feel when you connect. This phone, right, also has a battery. If we don't charge this phone, I can't use it. So I need to charge it every night. And Nitnem, your daily routine, this is really a bit like your daily battery charge. If you don't have this, if you don't charge yourself up every day, when you want to try and connect, you're going to find it very hard. It's going to be like that phone on the last little bit of juice. It's much easier to connect when you've got a fully charged battery, or at least a battery that's got a good bit of charge inside. Reception. We all need reception in order for us to connect. Yeah, and many ways, you can see Sadh Sangat, the company of the holy people, as your reception. The holy people, when you're around them, and people who are meditating and also connecting, they effectively act like little aerials. And then so when you're trying to connect to this divine, the fact that you're hanging out with people that have a lot of reception already, allows you to actually connect much quicker. And then if you were out, say for example in the countryside, in English countryside is a very good example of this, where you're going to get reception sometimes high, sometimes low, but there's no guarantee of getting lots of reception because it just depends upon what's going on at that time. In the same way, if you're hanging out in the holy congregation, you're much more likely to get connection. Now, one of the things that phones always need is a network. A network is basically a service provider. Okay, so we all need a spiritual guide, somebody who's actually been there to teach us really about what I can do next in order to progress spiritually, and that's the person we effectively go through. It's our service provider. Yeah. For Sikhs, that's the Guru Nanak and all the Gurus, the 10 Gurus and the Guru Granth Sahib Ji and all the Banis. These are basically our service provider. They connect us to the truth. And Guru uses a word which is Satguru, and some people translate that to be true Guru, but you can also translate that in many ways to mean the Guru of the truth. That's what Guru's job is, to teach you the truth. When these networks, they advertise themselves on the mobile phone, they say, well, I've got the best coverage across the whole of the UK or America. They've got loads and loads of aerials, and they've got loads and loads of clarity of connection. And they might give you stuff like 3G and more data. Sikhs definitely don't like to criticize other religions. Guru Sahib makes commentary upon other religions, but we're not people who go out there, point fingers and say you guys shouldn't be following your religion. Why we follow them rather than anybody else is that they effectively give us no interference. So there's no sexism, no homophobia, no racism. All the right morals are put in there, and these things always aid us in our spiritual path. So we don't get confused about what we should be doing next. It's very, very clear. Okay, so one other thing with the phone, if you're on pay-as-you-go, obviously you need to have credit on there, otherwise you still won't be able to make a call. One way to understand our credit in this life would be, for example, our current actions and how good our life is effectively, whether we're earning credit from good actions and whether we're actually throwing all our good credit away. So we come to this life effectively with karma, things from our previous life that are that act as a hidden credit, and now we don't know where that is. So you don't know whether you've done loads of good things in your previous life, and therefore you might make one call and connect straight away, or you don't know whether you've got not a lot of good credit, but in this life you've done a lot of things to work it up. So we're not sure. We can't always be sure at this point when we're starting out on that life how much credit we have. However, what we can do is right now start to improve our credit, and that comes from things like doing the right thing, so living an honest life, also helping people, doing seva, which means selfless service. Other things like, for example, being honest in all our dealings, trying to be more compassionate, trying to be much more humble in how we act, and also we're trying to stop losing our credit from random things, like for example when your phone gets left on and it's going online, that's very bad for you. So similarly we've got these 5 jors, these 5 things that are stealing all our credit from us, and they would be our kaam, which is lustful desire or desire in general, krodh, your anger, lobh, which is the amount of greed that you might have, and moh, your attachment, and finally your ahankar, your sense of pride, and your sense of I'm the greatest thing there was. So these 5 things, they effectively act to steal all our credit. Even though people might be on pay-as-you-go and working to have good credit and keep money in their account, one of the things that you can do to ensure you've always got a certain amount of money left in your account or calls to make is to get a contract. So for me, a way to understand Amrit would be taking out a contract with your Guru. And in which case you're saying, look Guruji, I will give you my head and I will stick to the certain rehat that you prescribe me, and in return for that, effectively what Guruji is saying is that he will stand by your side. It's just like a bit like getting married really. You promise to be faithful and to honor that relationship, and in return you get some kind of commitment from the other person, and that's what for me Amrit is. It's a form of marriage between you and the Guru, and a contract that you've taken out. But it has to start with by you giving your head. It's a pretty high price, but ultimately it's very, very worth it. So effectively you have to call out and try to speak or connect to that creator, that Akal Purukh, and that for us is through Simran, actually meditation or chanting, calling out to Waheguru. So this is what allows us to connect, and that's why maybe the phone, with all the things that you've done, you may have actually built up good credit and all the other things that you're doing, but you're not actually calling and calling out the name or Naam Simran Karna. That's very key to Sikhi. Doing Simran is the way to progress ourselves spiritually. And really when we look at our phone and say, okay, it's not working right now, or I'm not feeling that spiritually high right now, I've gone on a bit of a downer, we can understand why is that. Well, maybe the things that work for our phone we need to apply to ourselves and say, well, am I doing the right things? Am I fighting my kaam, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankar? Am I actually building up my nitnem? Have I got a good rehat, which is your daily discipline about getting up early, doing my prayers? Why are these things, if we're not doing these things, we can hardly expect for it all to work. When we haven't connected with this one, we can think it doesn't work. There's no connection. Yeah, we can go into Gurudwara one day and say, okay, well, I've heard from people that Simran is the way to connect to God. So you sit down, say Waheguru a few times, and you expect it to work. It doesn't work. You think, oh, there's nothing there. Well, imagine using the analogy on the phone. Let's say you had a phone that had no battery, not charged up ever, no credit. Effectively, you would understand in normal life that this phone is not going to work. And then you went in and you tried to phone somebody, yeah, and it didn't work. So you would say, well, I'm not going to blame the phone. because I haven't done all the things that the phone requires for it to work. And in many ways, in spiritual growth, to have that experience, we're going to have to do some of these things that lead to this experience. And there's a reason why Guru Sahib keeps talking about these things. So if you're trying to connect and you know, okay, it's not working right now, do not despair. The first thing is, you're born as a human being. This is your chance to connect to Waheguru. Secondly, you're listening to the Guru's wisdom upon these things, and you're reading part and you listen to Kirtan. So follow it, listen and do. Just like Sunay and Manne. And once you start doing those things, you will earn the grace. You will earn what Sikhi is trying to teach you, which is that experience. And it's a science of connecting that Guru Sahib is giving us. It's a methodology that works. How do we know that we are phones rather than iPod touches? You know, and that really comes from a little bit about trust and a little bit about experience. Now, all your life, you've been told, many times you've been told that you're just like an iPod touch, loads of facilities, but you're not meant to connect to anybody. Or if you are meant to connect, it's only over a Wi-Fi network with your friends on a game, yeah? So for example, to your partner or to your children, but not to a creator. So when we look at saying, or someone says to us, okay, your purpose, like Guruji says, your purpose is to connect to your creator, we're not sure how to do that. What we need is a little bit of trust. So what's Guru Sahib is saying, look at the Sikhs and look at the people who are connected. Go and find holy people. And when you see inside them that this is working, they're obviously doing something for some reason, then it gives us faith that we also can connect. The other thing is that we need to have a little bit of experience. The first time the call actually gets through, at that point when we have that little bit of experience, which is a bit like a light in the dark, it's a bit like seeing all the jewels on the floor. And if it was dark time, you couldn't see them, but a certain amount of light comes in and suddenly you see all the jewels that are there, then you don't need anybody else to tell you what to do. You know how it worked, and all you have to do is follow it. And really what we can pray to our Guru, if we are at the point where we want to have that experience, is start following what Guru is telling you about the path, and what the science of it is, and the methodology, and then basically try making a call and beg him for that little bit of experience, the taste. And then once that taste comes in, I'm sure you know what to do afterwards yourself. You won't need anybody else to tell you. You just follow Guru Granth Sahib Ji and the Gurbani. There are going to be a lot of mistakes in this analogy. It's only supposed to help you. It's not the definitive way of connecting, primarily because it's not really from Gurbani and it's not really from the Guru's mouth. And I would suggest that the best thing we can do is read Gurbani and try to understand the examples from Gurbani, because they're going to be pure and without anybody else's dilution upon it. I hope we can all have that experience, and I hope we can all grow upon that experience. Bhulan chuka maaf karniya. Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh.